You are now listening to Thinking Out Loud with your hosts, Jay-Lip and J.Rhodes.
Thinking Out Loud, we back at it, man. It's your boy Jay-Lip, my co-host J.Rhodes, the Honorable Mr. Levi, and of course the friend of the room, AP. We had to take a break for a couple weeks, man. Take a little hiatus, and we apologize to y'all for that, but we're back in full effect, and we're not stopping this train. We keeping it moving. So, in continuation from the last episode, I want to hand it back off to my man AP. AP?
There's a red and a blue pill. You don't have to take the credit. You don't have to sign your name on a dotted line. You could have phoned some, family, something. Try to get those books rolled into your tuition, something, or otherwise. But you didn't have to sign your name on that dotted line.
All right, well,
and nobody forced you to be irresponsible with that money either.
Okay, well, let's take it back then, because now you're saying it's irresponsible. So now I'm gonna come back at you and say, if it was an irresponsible decision, how can you justify a person who couldn't graduate from college without taking advantage of that opportunity?
I mean, if you had to take advantage of it, you had to take advantage of it. But you
just blame the person who took advantage of it. So I'm
bringing them.
I got a question for you, Lip. What would you do when your son go to college?
First off, when my son goes to college,
heard nothing. It kind of broke up.
He said,
"What would you?" I asked Lip, "What you gonna do when this kid go to college?"
When my kid goes to college, I'm going to teach my child there are other opportunities other than going to a Big Ten university to get to where they want to be in life. The greater goal in life to me is bigger than college. College is a ticket that you pay. Your degree is a ticket to ride. So that ticket to ride was me having my college degree. And I could not get that college degree without me taking out the loans that I took out, had them co-signed by my family, and when all my co-signers ran out, all I had were credit card opportunities to help me get me through what I needed to do to be able to pursue my dream.
What if you would have worked and went to the factory and then saved up enough money to go?
What if I would have worked at the You said the factory, like there's this one factory where we can all go to, and
one of the big three.
Okay, so I would be at a factory working and making money to survive.
Making like $17 an hour at 18. That's pretty good.
Okay, so that's good to survive. How would I make that money when Michigan State cost me $15,000 a year?
Making $35,000 and you 18. What expenses do you have?
The expenses that I have are living expenses. I have the expenses of, let's say I'm trying to be as realistic as possible. Saying that I could work at a factory and earn my way through school, I do not believe I could complete my scholastic efforts and work a full-time job. I could not.
No, I'm not saying at the same time. I'm saying you go make money and then save up and then go.
Oh, I got you. Go to school when I'm 40.
Yeah, it would take long.
No, I mean, it would take long. But if you went to school at 18, whether it's a big three or any decent job, they have tuition assistance where you can take a certain amount of credits and those tuition credits are reimbursed to you. So you had other options than using your credit.
Okay, but who told me that I had the options, though?
It's nobody told you.
That's my point.
Some parents
that comes back to education.
Know that and tell their kids that.
Did your parents tell you that?
Yeah, that's why I didn't go directly. I went straight to work. I started working at AT&T at 18.
And that's why you've never been on this podcast before, because we don't fuck with people like you. Like, that's the problem. You always... In all seriousness, you don't know what you don't know. When I graduated from high school, I was given the opportunity. I was told by many people that came through and said, look, you're going to go to Michigan, you're going to go to Michigan State. Which one? Mm-hmm. So I said Michigan State. I went. And then they said, oh, it's going to be $15,000 a year. I said, okay. I took out the loan. My mom co-signed my loan on the first year. My grandma co-signed on my loan my second year. And then after that, I was on my own. So I feel like there is still a disconnect in the black community of us giving our children an option to understand you don't have to go to college to make it. You don't.
Right.
I believe that 100%.
Exactly. You don't.
But
and I think that's more. No, I say, and that's being a minority. That's why I think credit is even more important. Just so you know that you're not going to be at a disadvantage. You know, that's why that's what one of the reasons why I think credit is so important.
So with Ramsey saying that you can eliminate credit, you can have a credit score of 0, you could buy a house with 20% down and go to a good credit union and they'll give you a home loan and everything else. You still disagree with that philosophy.
You're not getting a home loan with a credit score of 0. Period.
If they do
You can
manual
though. You
underwriting.
can though. Thank you.
If
Levi.
you
Say
find
it
somebody
again.
that does manual underwriting.
Say it again, Levi.
Yeah,
I'm sorry
and
to
then
interrupt
and
you.
then how much more are you going to pay than those with good credit? You're at on average. We're not talking about home loans, car loans. We're just talking about on average. With everything combined, those with bad credit pay $4,000 more than those with good credit.
But
So you can afford $4,000 more than everybody else.
But AP, we're not
Why?
arguing. But we're not arguing the fact that you're paying more or less. We're arguing the fact that you can do it.
No credit is different than bad credit. Credit, you only need credit if you don't have money. That's the only point of credit. The only point of credit is to borrow money.
That's
it.
not true. But that's not true. With no
Why
credit,
do you
or
need
bad
credit if you have money? Name one
Because
thing that credit does to help you out when you have money.
pay less money. You're going to pay with
less
bad
money for
credit or
what?
no credit.
Right.
If you have bad credit and no credit, you're going to pay more for your car insurance if they check your credit.
What if you
You're
have
gonna
no
pay
credit
more
score?
if you have no credit score, you're still going to pay more.
No, you're not.
They don't have a baseline for you. You're going to pay. You're lumped in with the bad credit people. You're going to pay
I
more
think-
per year.
Macro point of view, if you could pay something in cash, you're gonna pay less because you're not paying interest as
Right.
opposed to credit. But what AP is saying, if you have a bad credit score, you're gonna pay more a higher interest rate than somebody with
Yeah.
good.
Right, but
I
what
agree
I'm
with
saying
that.
is Levi and AP are saying polar opposite things. So I want to just let this air out. So go ahead. What you were saying, AP?
What I'm saying is a lot of times when you have no credit score or bad credit, you're lumped in as the same person. You're not going to get the lending. You're going to pay more per year in your housing, in your insurance, health, and car, and you're also at a disadvantage with pretty much everything.
No, but okay.
credit
So
score-
let me stop you there.
You're not.
So you said you're going to be stopped with pretty much everything.
I didn't say stop. I said you're at a disadvantage.
Okay, disadvantage.
Yeah,
You're
what?
right. Disadvantage.
Okay.
Go, Levi. Go.
With car insurance, you're
check
not
your
going to
credit.
pay more because you can pay in lump sums because you have what's called money. Because
But
you
if
don't
you-
need
if-
credit. You could say
Everybody
Now,
can't
if
get a lump sum,
with your-
Levi.
with your point about bad credit, I totally agree with you. I agree with you 100% when it comes to bad credit. But there's a big difference between bad credit and no credit.
I agree.
No credit just
Levi, if I signed you up right now today, you have $3,000 at minimum for your 6-month policy.
I don't at the current moment.
All
That's what I'm
right,
saying.
that's my
But
point. There we go.
But wait. There was a point in time where if you said, am I going to pay up front or would I pay as month to month? Most of the time people will give a discount if they can get their money up front. I know because at the time I had the money up front, when I had the money up front, that's what I did. It was like, you can either
Great.
pay $3,000 or $2,500 or $250 a month. Naturally, I'm getting $500 off if I pay cash.
Exactly.
If I had to
But
cash.
most Americans trying to live by Dave Ramsey, trying to say, oh, well, we get a lump sum. You can't do it. Most people have kids and family. You need that emergency fund, that thing that he always talks about. But most people don't have that. So we're talking
Right,
about
man.
average people.
Right, but Dave Ramsey is talking about not being average. His whole point is get bread, so you're not average, so you're not in this bucket.
And let's talk about Dave Ramsey, period. Dave Ramsey sells programs and books. He's a 1%er. He can afford to live by his teaching. Most Americans, even if they do his program to the T, aren't going to be able to live the way he lives. Let's get that out the way.
Right. And
No, I'm not going to say no. I'm not going to say right. Like no, that's not true. You just said that most people who listen to his plan are not going to be able to follow it and succeed. Like that's AP. That's
no,
not
I didn't
true.
say no. You twisted my word. I didn't say they weren't going to grow, but to succeed. I said the way. So if I follow his program to a T, and I got kids, and I got family, and I got things I got to do, I got $3,000 or $3,000 to $5,000 I got to pay because of my bad credit. I got to pay more. So
Wait,
I mean,
what are
it's,
you
it's,
using
it's not realistic.
But what are you using credit for?
Exactly.
The whole plan is to go to
Okay.
cash.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
Dave
we-
Ramsey said we cut these bad habits, then we don't need to rely on credit.
Exactly.
But if you don't have bad habits, if you cut those bad habits, using credit doesn't cost you anything more. There's no such thing as interest.
If. I keep hearing the word if. If you don't have bad habits,
There's an if on each side. If I have $3,000, I can pay my insurance off and don't have to pay extra per month. Yes.
But I'm telling you, as a person who does have bad habits, I'm saying for me, I needed Dave Ramsey and his plan to help me get to the point where I paid off my cars. Right, so I benefited from that. So to
you benefit from that, but at a certain point, now you're at ground zero. You can build your credit and not use it.
But why build a credit though? Is my question. Why? What do I need? What do I need the right to borrow money for if I make money?
You don't have cash. You don't have all that cash to lay down for the things that you want.
So now you're judging my pockets.
But if you stop borrowing money, then what will you have? Money.
No. Let's be realistic.
But that's not true.
Being realistic, if you had $30,000 in cash right now, your car break down, you could get a used car. But if you want a brand new car, why spend $20,000 of it on a brand new car when you can finance it and keep the majority of that money in your pocket? You know what? The first law of economics.
I wouldn't buy a new car though.
I mean,
exactly.
But that's you,
right? If you
why would I buy a new car when I know if I buy a $30,000 car, the minute I drive that bitch off the lot, it's worth $24,000.
Exactly.
I just blew away $10,000. I let you drive it off the lot. You lose $10,000. Now I cop that from you from 15. 2 years later.
That's not realistic, but okay.
Money now is greater than money later. That's a law of economics.
Look, AP, what I'm saying is, why do I need to strengthen my ability to borrow money if I have money already? My thing is,
you're going to pay more per year on your basic essentials. You are. If you have the money, great. But if you don't, like most Americans, then you're in the can.
If you
I
pay more for what?
We've been over this multiple times. Your insurance, your housing, your basic stuff.
Your housing. Okay. I was a mortgage banker. If you find, and I did not do manual underwriting, but
let him know. I said, let him know.
There are mortgage companies that do manual underwriting if you don't have the money. Now, if you got the money, you can just go buy the house. And if you buy the house cash, you're going to get a better deal and close quicker than you would on any type of credit, whether your credit score 800 or anything. You come up to somebody, you tell them they trying to sell the house for 230. You like, I got 210 in hand. They going to take that over. Let me take 230, but I got to wait for your mortgage company to try to approve your loan.
Right. All right. But you also assume
get back to reality. Nobody has $200,000 in their pocket. So we're going to stop talking about that. As a minority, let's talk about this minority.
The whole point of his plan is so that you get money, so that you don't have to be in that. You will be the person with the money. Maybe you don't start off with a $200,000 house. Maybe you buy a $50,000 house outright. That's not impossible to save up 50 grand or save up 100 grand. It's not impossible.
But we're talking about realistically. Like that's not realistic. Like it's just. I don't. That's one of the things the problems I have with Ramsey, because it's a disconnect from reality. I want to say that his plans are better suited for non-minorities, because most minorities are going to have bad credit, and there is no way to erase your credit to have no credit. So at this point, you're a minority. You're going to be faced by redlining because you got bad credit. So now you got to get a house in the hood, and now you back in Detroit, you back in Chicago.
Man, white people got just as bad as credit as black people.
I didn't say they didn't, but I said it's more important for minorities because we're already at a disadvantage.
I mean, daddy who could lend his money out the trust fund a lot of times.
Right. So again, they have money. So if you have money, you don't need credit. Whether you black, white, whatever.
Right, but I mean, and
most black people have money. Do we not earn less than our counterparts?
We do earn less.
All right,
on average.
And financial literacy is not a strong suit of minorities, is it?
Yeah, then that's what we all here to work on changing that.
There's no problem with that, but financial literacy also includes your credit. That's just the facts of life. Like, we have to deal in reality.
True.
AP, you make a good point, but you cannot negate the fact that Dave Ramsey's plan works. You can't.
No, I'm not saying it doesn't work. I'm saying, like, if you're in debt and you've been irresponsible, you need a plan need a plan like that to get you out of the hole.
No, see, my problem is you give it a caveat and say Dave Ramsey plan.
Wait, let him finish.
But he said
If you
it works if you've been irresponsible. And my thing is,
okay,
it's not just for irresponsible people.
It's not.
well,
But that's for majority of people who use his plan. If you listen to his podcast, they call in and they have their mindset is all the same. They've been using credit cards, not paying them off, and now they're trying to use this system to get out of debt.
right.
I mean, yeah, right.
So we agree on that. His point. So where do you disagree?
I disagree on you should have a zero credit score. Like there was a bill passed, I want to say a year or two ago, for the Housing Commission, where renters, they already were tracking your credit, but now if you're a renter, they can use your credit score against you and make you pay, $50, $100, $200 more. And now a lot of homeowners or people who are renting out these units aren't using that yet, but in certain areas they are. So your bad credit or your no credit, now you're paying more for your rental, you're paying more for your insurance. Now, if you have the credit, you got the bread, like Levi says, you can pay that 3 to 5 for your 6-month policy. Good. But if you're like most Americans, it's just not realistic.
But if you don't have debt, you're not like most Americans.
Most Americans are in debt. That's a fact.
Right. That's what he's trying to get you out of that. So that way you're not like most people. That's the whole point of the program.
Okay. All right. So once you're out of debt and you have no credit or bad credit, are you paying more?
But if you're out of debt, how you got bad credit?
You still have to build your credit. You still have to build credit. You can't just once
if
you
you're
pay
out
off,
of debt, you can't be out of debt completely and have bad credit. That's not possible.
Levi. Once you have
AP, I'm here with you. I'm here with Levi too, man. Explain that to me. If you're out of debt, how do you have bad credit?
The way credit works, let's say I have a credit card that was $1,000, and they try to attempt to collect that debt from me, and they can't. It goes to a debt collector.
Yep.
Now, if which Jay-Lip likes to do, which is a settlement, or if I pay that bill off,
Whoa. See.
Oh, my bad.
Hey, he put you out of the
Edit it out.
You were
yeah. My bad. Let's start that over. So, all right. If you have a credit card, let's say that was for $1,000, and you don't pay that bill, it transfers to a debt collector. Now that debt collector attempts to collect that debt. Now, if you set up a deal where you pay you settle it or you pay it off completely, that does not delete that off of your credit report. That is still a negative item on your credit report, and you still have bad credit. Now, after 7 years, that will come off.
Right.
You still got to wait 7 years. So now, and those 7 years,
that's not what Ramsey is advocating.
Right. But forget the bad credit. Let's take bad credit, no credit. You're still lumped in with the people with bad credit.
No, you're not. You just can't. It might be harder to qualify for certain apartments or things like that. It might be harder to qualify, but if you come to somebody and you show them cash money and yes, I got a job, I've been working, blah, blah, blah. I just don't believe in using credit. If the landlord got any type of common sense, they're going to take the money and run.
Yep.
But that's not, Levi, I need you to speak for most people, like not for just.
But most people got fucked up credit.
Oh, do they?
Right.
That is true, though. But that's true, AP. That's true.
Sarcastic.
Most people.
So y'all helping my point out. You're so now they're going to spend more.
But they're already spending more. Ramsey's trying to fix your credit so that way you don't need to You're going to fix your credit by paying off your bills that he advocates that if you owe the bill, he didn't say settle. Now, if you pass a certain point, you've been sent to collections and all that, and all of that. At that point, you might settle, but he doesn't advocate that. He advocates paying what you owe.
Levi say he was like, and all that bullshit, exactly, and all that bullshit. And we're speaking from experience. I'm speaking from experience right now.
So from my experience, before I had credit established, I had money. When you have money, money talks. Ain't nobody looking up your credit score if you got cash in hand. Like, for example, when I paid for my wedding outright, cash. Ain't no, do you have like credit? Now, if I had to go get a loan or something like that, then that's different. Some people do that. I was fortunate enough at that time to where I didn't have to do that. I could pay up front. Okay. Or there was around that same time in life, I got discounts on my car insurance because at that point I was like, your premium, is $200 a month. I say, well, how much if I give you cash? It's a G for 6 months. here you go. I'll take my $200 discount. If you at that point,
and that's great. But you have to get to that point. It takes a while. You still like that waiting period. You're still going to pay more. You can't do snowball and then still be cashing out for insurance, cashing out for cars, cashing out for houses.
Right. I agree with that. That's if you've been through certain things and you chose to borrow money and got yourself into debt, which I've made those decisions as well, then it's best to try to pay your bills so that way you can prove that your worthiness. If you don't have the money to do it and you're still going to decide to do it in the meantime, at least make sure you make your payments so you got good credit. So okay. I agree with you. But if you don't need to go into debt in the first place, that's the best solution of all.
But that's what life forces you in debt.
But say that again,
life
Rhodes.
Doesn't force you into debt.
Life does force you into debt because life encourages you to go to school. Life encourages you to send your kids to private school.
No, fuck that. No.
Life encourages you to take out a finance in your car.
No. You just said life forces you to finance. That I don't problem with.
I mean, that's not true. I'll agree that isn't true. I mean, if you want to live with a cash life, and you're just not gonna be able to afford nicer things.
I mean, it's like Cadillac Records.
You're gonna be able to get where you gotta go. It's just gonna take you a lot of longer.
He said just like Cadillac Records. You know what? Okay, I wanna bring this shit to a closer because at the end of the day, I'm with Levi when it comes to Dave Ramsey. I've lived the plan, and what I'm trying to tell you, AP, is I was the person who things got so bad, and there's going to be an episode in the future where I divulge a lot of what my personal struggles have been. But financially, I will tell you this, that there was a point where I was going to the short-term loan place, taking out a loan for $800 and paying back $950 just to pay my rent. And I was in a very fucked up place. But I learned through the Dave Ramsey plan that if you sacrifice and you put aside the money and you say, you know what, I'm going to pay the loans off, or I'm going to pay my debts smallest to largest. Now I'm living in a place where I'm happy with my wife. We got 2 paid off cars. We have no personal debt. Every dollar that comes to this household is coming to us, and we don't have no credit. Like, just today I got my bonus from work and we paid off my wife's last credit card, and we're done with it. The only thing we owe is student loans. But that was because of the Dave Ramsey plan that Levi put me up on. So I struggle to understand, why do I need credit to survive, or rather, what can credit benefit me in my life? And I'm gonna let you end it with that. What can credit do for me what am I missing out on?
I mean, I won't necessarily say that you're missing out on something. I mean, my whole point from the beginning of the segment is that you're generally going to pay more. I mean, they're passing bills for your rent. Are you a renter, or are you a homeowner?
I'm a renter.
So if your landlord decides to enact his power to make, I don't know what your credit score is, but let's say you had bad credit, and he said, let's say I got to charge you extra $50.
My credit score is
$200 more.
My credit score is 300. Let's say it's 300, the minimum.
Can I interject with that real quick?
Go ahead.
From what I've seen, just being in the industry, is most of the time they don't charge you more per month. They charge you more of a security deposit, which is meaning more money up front.
You got to see if that's refundable or not, because some aren't refundable.
I've never lived somewhere where it wasn't.
Okay.
Admin fees.
But there are places that have non-refundable moving fees. Security deposit.
Right, but I wouldn't say that would be. I would say that would be a minority as opposed to a majority.
Right, and I'm speaking as a minority. And I'm just saying the facts of life are, in the near future, may pay more for your rental with your bad credit. You're going to pay more for your car insurance because you don't have the cash right now to pay the entire thing off. You don't have that money.
Yeah, or just be denied access to the rental or the car with bad credit at that too.
Yeah, and that's another thing. You can't be denied just because your credit is bad, and you can't say there are rules.
You're not gonna be denied if you got money. You can't have bad credit and not have money.
What? Yes, you can.
You can, but then at that point, yes, you're going to not, receive. You're not going to be able to get certain things because credit is basically an indicator of how good are you at borrowing money and paying motherfuckers back.
I agree.
And so
I agree 100%.
Bad credit
also
means you borrow money and you wasn't good. I loaned you 100, you didn't come through on my bill. I want my fucking money. How am I gonna borrow you?
Exactly.
I want, why would I loan you $1,000 if you ain't pay me back 100 first?
Exactly.
You need to show that you can pay back my money first. Then, okay, now when you come to me for 500, well, you was good with the 250. Okay, I'll give you 500. Now you come to me for a G. Yeah, okay, I'll give you a G. That's all credit is.
I mean, this segment, you kind of, Levi, you kind of dominate this segment with like misleading facts and stuff. Like it's misleading, bro. Like most people can't live like that. Like nobody has this cash money. Like if we did, Black people wouldn't be in the position that they are in life right now. I mean, you look at like a tactic that some whites use with excellent credit. When they had their grandparents with excellent credit, what they'll do is charge their kids' entire college tuition on their cards and go bankrupt. You couldn't even do that just because you haven't even established your credit. Like that's like they're never going to use their credit again because they're old. That's a tactic. That's an advantage. That's something that Black people don't do. We don't know about that. But you got Dave Ramsey saying you'll never need your credit in life. Like that's an advantage. Like
most people ain't doing that. There's probably a couple that could probably get
people.
Credit is a tool.
I didn't say that. It's a tool.
But what you do have a valid point is most white there's a disproportionate amount of white people with wealth, so therefore they can send their kids through college. And the kids don't have to incur debt, so then they can start off life way 2 steps ahead of us. I agree with that portion of it.
I want to make this point just real quick. I've been studying a lot of business and a lot of business heads. Most billionaires, millionaires, and I'm talking about from 1 million all the way up, use debt to their advantage to build their wealth. Debt shouldn't always be looked at as, oh man, like it's beating me down. Like you can use debt to your advantage. There are tricks of the trade, and you got to learn those tricks. You can be, young and naive and not use credit and have it hold you under, or you can grow up, get to a solid baseline, and use that credit to build your wealth.
I'm with you. I'm with you on that. I want to say this. At the end of the day, this conversation has been exactly what we needed. This is Thinking Out Loud. We are truly having a conversation that we need to have. I want to thank J.Rhodes for being my co-host. As always, my brother, thank you, bro.
Oh, yeah, always a pleasure.
I want to thank the Honorable Mr. Levi. You fam. Thank you, brother.
Appreciate it.
And then AP, you the featured guest. You the friend of the room, and you bringing some knowledge that we didn't know, but I still want to bring you back on for some more challenges, man. If you willing, I'm willing. Let's do this.
Hey, man. Anytime.
All right. This is Thinking Out Loud. This is what we do. This is what it is, man. And we out.
This episode of Thinking Out Loud was executive produced by Jay-Lip. Music provided by Daisy Smith. Artwork and logo provided by Rob D. And sponsored by you, the people. We thank you for listening.